Hey folks, this is Jake Davis with the top 5 video for today. Breaking down my top 5 picks for the best director winners in the history of the Oscars. It's my penultimate version of the series. Hopefully I get them all done before Oscar Sunday, which is this weekend. First off, kick it off with my most notable snubs, or why weren't they nominated, or how were they not nominated. Of course, just my personal opinions here. John Sturges for The Great Escape. Story about a bunch of World War II POWs who end up in a Axis Powers prison camp that's specifically designed for the best escape artists in the Allied forces, and it works about as well for them as you think it would. It is one of the best films of the 1960s, one of the coolest movies ever made, and easily the most macho motion picture of all time. Richard Donner for Superman. Say what you want about the film, and I've had many criticisms of it before from myself in the past, but Richard Donner created an entire film genre in 1978, and damn few people can say such a thing. Philip Kaufman for The Right Stuff. Kaufman, this could just have easily been for The Wanderers, but Philip Kaufman, in my opinion, is the greatest filmmaker to never be nominated for an Oscar for Best Director, and the fact that The Right Stuff was nominated, rightfully, for Best Picture in 1983, but he was not up for Director is downright criminal. Mel Gibson for The Passion of the Christ. What can you say? An R-rated film about a religious deity in a dead language made out of his own pocket went on to become one of the most successful, ambitious, and unique films of all time. And David Fincher for Gone Girl, a master at the height of his powers, his true magnum opus. It's a film that is far more epic than you would expect until you really get into it. It's my favorite film of that entire decade. As far as honorable mention goes, I only have one. It's Peter Jackson for The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. I really wanted to put him in my top 5, but he only makes my honorable mentions because it's as magnificent and phenomenal as The Lord of the Rings is as a standalone film. He did win that award for the overall achievement of the trilogy, and, you know, not that that so much sours or dampens it, you just can't ignore that. Worst, least deserving, best director winner of all time, in my opinion, is easily Michelle Zanavicius for The Artist. I shouldn't say easily, but I mean just, it's a pretentious, indulgent, boring, convoluted motion picture that does not hold a candle to the actual cinematic explorers that were making silent movies back in the first 3 decades of the 20th century. It's buffoonery, in my opinion, and no business being anywhere near the best picture scene, much less best director. And to get to my top 5 personal picks, just hold on, just 2 seconds. I can't listen. Some other, yeah, that's a little funner. I like Mariah. So, for my final picks, number 5, I'd say Elia Kazan for On the Waterfront, a movie about a dock worker who is manipulated into leading his good friend into his own murder, and then struggles with whether or not he should do the right thing and rat the bastard out. It's probably the only story I've ever come across a movie where the rat is the hero. But it's a magnificent film, and even die-hard communists who hate Elia Kazan and refused to stand for him when he received his Lifetime Achievement Oscar back in 1998 would not deny this film of its greatness. Number 4, I would say Michael Curtiz, Casablanca, about a bar owner who's wrapped in the middle of political espionage, and to make things even more personally complicated, the woman, the long lost love of his, is caught up in all of this too. It is possibly the most beloved movie of all time. Its only real rival, I would probably argue, is Star Wars. Casablanca is a one-of-a-kind, all-time great film, and it doesn't work without Curtiz. It really doesn't. The man was a great filmmaker. Number 3, I'd say John Ford for The Quiet Man. John Ford is the only director to ever win 4 Best Director Oscars. None of them were for his genre that he's most iconically known for, the Western. But The Quiet Man is such an incredibly charming motion picture. And I've heard people try to, but it's dated, it's misogynist, but no, it doesn't work. You can try to poke holes in this motherfucker, but it's not the Titanic. It's gonna float. This is a great, great movie that has more than stood the test of time. It's a masterclass. Number 2, I would say John Huston for The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Just a story about 3 very desperate men who go to the Mexican mountains in search for gold and encounter incredible dangers and relentless madness on their quest. It is one of my favorite films. It is just as dark and poignant and melancholy and funny as it is epic. It also features Humphrey Bogart in my absolute all-time favorite movie performance as Fred C. Dobbs. My number 1 pick for the greatest and most deserving Best Director winner of all time at the Academy Awards is David Lean as Lawrence of Arabia, an incredibly controversial and violent military man who helped the British Empire conquer the Middle East. It's really, it's a 4-hour movie. It's made Peter O'Toole a movie star. It solidified David Lean as one of the great ones and Steven Spielberg's favorite film. There's no greater example of epic director making an epic movie in an epic way than Lawrence of Arabia. There's really nothing to compare it to. You can say, they don't make movies like this anymore. They never did before that. Lawrence of Arabia is special. Anyhow, I hope you all liked this video. I kept it as fast as I possibly could. To be honest, I probably could have trimmed another 30 seconds, but sorry, I like to talk. I'm Jake Davis, and I'll catch you on the fly.